Ready?
So,
Welcome back to this episode of Have Your Fill with me and my gracious host, Harvey Klein. The last episode we were talking to a good friend, Ross DeMarco, talking blues, 70s music and blues and how it dates so far back and so forth. And it was just so fascinating, so educational. I said, bow, 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 do it again, baby. So here we are again. Ross, good to see you.
good to see you too, man.
It's great talking to you. And when last we left our friend, we were talking disco.
Yes.
And I used the word disco with disdain, with extreme hatred. Let me tell you about disco. Back in the late 70s, I was playing in a live band. I was playing bass guitar in a original hard rock band. We had a lot of blues influence on us too.
Mm-hmm.
And it started to get really hard to find gigs in these small clubs around town because of disco. Because the club owner would say, hey, if I pay this one man with his little turntables to play this garbage music, I don't have to pay a whole band. I don't have to import a huge sound system and lighting and everything else. So when disco died, I danced on its grave.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were talking about disco when last we left.
Yes, it's short-circuited or circumvented a lot of the up-and-coming blues artists. Some of them managed to soldier through, but how did that come about? Was these tours. What had happened in England, where you had these European tours of these American blues artists.
Mm-hmm.
We started doing it here again with like these blues societies, and these guys would go out on tour, and you have a lineup of a couple of the old timers, maybe some of the newer up and coming ones. They would hitch them onto this caravan of stars, if you like, and they went about the country, and it kept revitalized. There was still a market for it in the FM underground stuff at the time, and so some of them did grow out of it. You had these smaller independent labels again that were still interested, and Bullet Records and labels like that just brought about newer artists that came about through that period of the 70s, and then even into the early 80s. Stevie Ray came about, and it was brilliant.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
I got to see him live a couple of times.
Yeah.
You just sit there with your jaw open. He's so good.
But that impact and what developed in the music came about went from Chicago to England to back to America, to the American South. Chicago was the big one here in the States, I guess, the Chess Records. And they had quite a lineup of people. And some of these guys were still able to tour. I saw Chuck Berry in the 70s and Muddy Waters in the late 60s into the 70s. So these guys were able to sustain and make a living. But as you said, it got harder and harder with the advent of this more popular music, and another generation coming up didn't attach itself to it as much. Climax Blues Band were a very good blues band. They went a little pop for a while.
Yes, they did.
But they got to survive. But the impact of the music and how it did more, in many respects. I've always felt that Chuck Berry did more for race relations than anybody.
Very true.
He played a rock and roll, but he played a lot of blues too.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to his Deep Feeling or Wee Wee Hours is Stormy Monday. It's just it's a little different, but he kept it going, and he brought Johnny B. Good in that. He broke through, crossed over, as they said.
Yeah.
And how much of an influence was Chuck Berry on all of those 60s and 70s rock artists? Yeah.
Back in those days, the guitarists all wanted to be like Chuck Berry. Get that riff going.
The riff, and it was at that too. He was a very clever lyricist.
Yes, he was.
He was very clever. I mean, who could come up with a line like, Last time I saw Marie, she was waving me goodbye with hurry home drops on her cheek and trickled from her eye. I mean, poetry.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
And again, going back, and I want to stay with that a little bit more, going back
Sure.
to John Mayall and Eric Clapton, and look at the great guitar players that passed through Eric Clapton's, John Mayall's band. Eric Clapton, he left, he's replaced by Peter Green. Peter Green forms Fleetwood Mac.
That's right.
Goes with Fleetwood Mac, one of the great blues bands in their earliest incarnation. They were a straight ahead blues rock band.
Before the days of Stevie Nicks,
Yes.
Lindsey Buckingham,
That's
even
right.
before Christine McVie.
That's
the
right.
band was
Jeremy Spencer, Danny Cohen, Peter Green, Big Fleetwood, John McVie. But then
and Rob Welch joined them a little bit later on.
Yes,
And
that's
they
right.
were indeed a basic electric blues band. They went through such a transition
Yes.
after those guys left, and it was just
It was just McVie and Mick Fleetwood.
yeah.
And
And then
Christy
they got,
McVie, Danny Cohen was another.
yeah, a lot of people
Right.
went through that band.
But also then Mayall, getting back to John Mayall, he took Peter Green's place. Mick Taylor. Mick Taylor doesn't burns up Freddie King's Driving Sideways on the album Blues Breakers Crusade.
Yep.
Scorches it. 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
They absorbed all of this from the Americans, and then it came to be part of the big rock movement in the 70s. You know, it was a very fertile time and a very great advancement to the blues. I mean, and Mayall, I mean, going back to Mayall, they did a version of Crossroads with Eric Clapton at that point in the first album.
Yes.
You know, and of course then
Great
came
song.
about Cream. Clapton left there. He was in Cream, and they were a wonderful exponent of American blues.
Yes.
And very influential in the States.
Yes, indeed. They influenced a lot of people. And I have to
Massive
say
power.
that a lot of the bands that came out of the 70s influenced a lot of what happened in the 80s.
Yes.
And even today,
Yes.
there were bands that went back
Yes.
to the 70s to get their roots.
That's right.
And the blues is one of the biggest proponents
Yes.
of that era.
Yes.
The way, and as you say, it was a little here, a little there, this type, that type, nobody really giving it really serious attention as we got through the 30s, 40s, 50s, into the 60s. Then things started to come together. As it came back from England, people started to take notice and say, hey,
Yeah.
this is good. Wait a second. Look what we have right here. We have Willie Dixon.
Yeah.
We have Muddy Waters,
Sure.
Lightning Hopkins.
Sure.
You know, all these guys. And that sort of brought the attention back
Yes.
to where it all started.
Yes.
Music is a funny thing, isn't it?
Well, I find that the thing that fascinates me is, again, the regionality of it. Like I said, you know, Texas blues, the Delta blues was different than the Piedmont blues, the Chicago blues. New York, you know, they had Atlantic Records here and that, and they were recording. There were a lot of jazz and soul and R&B.
Yeah.
And you had the Drifters and Ray Charles and that passing through that record label. Chicago again had Paul Butterfield Blues Band. Great harmonic. Mike Bloomfield. I think at that stage in 1965, 66, when Mike Bloomfield was with Paul Butterfield, I think he was a better guitar player than Eric Clapton at that point. They were both still developing and not taking anything away from Clapton. Michael Bloomfield was very good.
Yeah.
He was excellent.
Yes, he was.
There's on their album
Yes, he
East
was.
West, there's a song, I Got a Mind to Give Up a Living. And the guitar solo in there is just tremendous. But this is a Chicago band, so they'd hear this. They heard this blues music. You know, when I was a kid, radio was it for me. And I would stay awake at night under the covers. I had my transistor radio, and every once in a while, and I'm talking in like 1964, 65, I was 12, 13, I would catch on a skip the airwaves or the atmospheric conditions would be right, and I'd have a station from maybe Virginia, and I'd catch a little bit of it. The stations here that would really play the blues, you'd have to catch it at the right time. Even then, on the AM dial 16 was a WWRL, it was a black station, R&B station. you might pick up like Bobby Blue Bland and Jimmy Witherspoon, these great blues singers, you know.
Yeah.
Get that, and then it would fade. But get these other stations from West Virginia, and then they would fade away, and they would be trying to keep it in, and then the signal would change, and whatever happens.
Yeah, big
and you
difference
lose it.
today. Now
Big
we
difference.
have the internet,
Yeah,
YouTube,
yeah.
you know, streaming services,
Mhm.
all this stuff. There's nothing you can't find.
You can't. There was this dopey record out when I was a kid, The Martian Hop. Okay, I was laughing about this with a friend of mine the other day. I found the flip side on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Really?
The flip side. I don't
Go
forgive me.
figure.
I mean, dopey record, but nonetheless,
It's all right.
how obscure can you get? And yet it's there.
Yep.
It's there.
Yep.
You know, the market was a smaller thing than in terms of where you could go to hear. So everybody was listening to the same 5 or 6 radio stations, and it was AM.
That's right.
Then with the advent of FM radio, the underground movement, other
Yes.
bands coming around as it spread into pop music, guys like The Lovin' Spoonful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were a pop band, folk rock band, whatever,
Yeah.
but there was a lot of blues. John Sebastian, another great harmonica player.
Yes.
What
Speaking of harmonica players,
Yeah.
I understand you blow the horn.
Yeah, I do a little bit, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I can coax a noise out of it, you know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Who would you say are your top 5?
Little Walter, absolutely Little Walter.
Okay.
Paul Butterfield,
No doubt.
Sonny Boy Williamson,
Yes.
Sonny Boy Williamson too. There was an original guy, John Williamson. Sonny Boy took his name when John Williamson passed away. Throw that in there.
Good for you.
I love John Sebastian. There was another guy out of Chicago. There was a band called the Siegel Schwall Band, and there was a guy, Corky Siegel.
Oh.
Superb harmonica player. And as far as like the rock music goes, Brian Jones, pretty good. Brian Jones is a pretty good harmonica player.
Okay, you wouldn't, you know, when I think Brian Jones, I think stringed instruments.
Played harmonica. He played a number of instruments, Brian Jones.
He was
played
very
saxophone,
talented. Very talented.
xylophones, anything he picked up, he could, as I say, coax the noise out of it. But he was very
Yeah.
astute musician.
Yeah.
But the guys that I like a lot, John Sebastian, if you ever want to hear a great blues, Night Owl Blues by The Lovin' Spoonful. Night
Go
Owl
on
Blues.
YouTube and check it
Look
out.
for that one, yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I had an uncle
Mhm.
off the boat, Sicilian.
Yeah.
He actually married one of my grandmother's sisters to his uncle-in-law. We used to go over to his house. They didn't live too far from us.
Uh-huh.
And you know, the family get-togethers. His 2 brothers would come over.
Mhm.
They both played acoustic guitars. He
Mhm.
played harmonica.
Mm-hmm.
They'd sit out in the backyard and just wail.
Sure.
And they play these like folky kind of bluesy things,
Yeah.
and my Uncle Charles would just, I mean,
Well,
unbelievable.
I was fortunate. I grew up in a house with my father. We heard everything from, I don't know, Caruso to Coltrane. I mean, let's put it that way. I mean, there was a guy that I liked a lot too. Kind of a jazz harmonica player, Toots Thielemans. Played a chromatic.
Okay.
Stevie Wonder's a phenomenal harmonica.
Yes, he is. Yes, he
Great
is.
harmonica player. You listen to his rendition of Alfie. It's just a great influence.
Yeah.
Wonderful stuff.
Well, I have to say that it's been just amazing chatting with you. I really am getting such an education. It's been so much fun. It's obvious that the blues will never go. There's still a lot of blues around today. You know, it'll never die.
Oh yeah. John Bonamassa. These guys, young fella, younger
I
guys.
love John Bonamassa. He is amazing.
Tedeschi Trucks band. Just still going.
Yes,
So they're keeping it alive.
Of course, his uncle was Butch Trucks.
That's right.
Of the Allman Brothers. Unfortunately, took his own life
Yeah.
a few years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's his name? Warren Haynes from Government Mule.
Yes.
You know them?
Yes, sure.
I've had the pleasure of seeing them live a couple of times down at the Beacon Theater.
Uh-huh.
He rips it. He tears it.
There was a local guy too, who was around downtown, Papa Chubby.
Papa Chubby. I got a couple of his CDs. Yeah.
And, So
The blues is still with us.
still with us, man.
And I'm so happy. You look happy too.
I'm happy.
One of these days I want you play. Get your band together, you know, do a gig. I'll come down and watch. But that's all the time we have for today.
Great to be here. Thank you.
My friend, my brother, this was all my pleasure. Believe me.
Good.
And I know we'll be doing this again.
God bless you, man.
God bless you
Thank
too.
you. All the best.
And with that, I will say goodbye, sayonara, arrivederci, however you want to say it. That's it for this episode of Have Your Fill. And as I always say, as you go through your day or go through your night, take a moment to rock it and get them blues, baby. It's good for the soul. We'll see you later.